Hello, internet friends. My name is Bay, and welcome to the Battle for Azeroth beta on the second pass for the Holy Priest. And forgive my French, but holy crap baskets. The talent adjustments for the Holy Priest look really nice, which I'll go over in this video, as well as spells and abilities that have been lost or gained, what have been kept from your Legion artifacts or legendaries, new graphics, a brief overview of the War Mode talent system, and any GCD changes. There will be no true gameplay in this series, so consider this more of a one-man podcast walkthrough primer of what your spec is going to be like going from Legion into the Battle for Azeroth. We will definitely go heal some dummies, but that's about as much as you're going to get. The entire second pass VOD is located down below in the video description box. You can go over the entire 3-ish hours of figuring everything out, looking at coefficients, spells, that kind of thing. If you're interested, go check that out. And of course, any comments about the spec, questions, thoughts, concerns, thoughts about Mythic Plus viability, that'll be a good riot. Go for it down below in the comment section, of course. And then if you are new to the channel or enjoy my ramblings or any of the above, hit that subscribe button to keep up to date on all of the beta information that is still yet to come. And of course, shows in the future when those get going up on YouTube, all that good stuff. It's not your first rodeo on YouTube unless you're the first time here. Then hi, it's spelled B-A-Y, by the way. So I filled up my entire hotbar here just to show how many abilities that the Holy Priest has. This is before War Mode talents as well. So the long and short of Holy Priest for a very long time now has been, it's the jack of all trades, so the master of none. You can do tank healing, you can do raid healing, you can spec for this, you can spec for that, and you can basically heal any way. And that is still very, 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 very true. The Holy Priest can do just about anything, and especially this weird graphical glitch. There we go. So there are some aura tweaks, your tuning aura behind the scenes here. I wanted to go over this first because this might come up later in the video. That Halo and Divine Star, which sadly still do not have any synergy with Serendipity yet, they're 1-to-1 on the damage and healing, but the Holy Priest aura behind the scenes is buffing the healing part more than the damage part, which is new, but that only really matters if you actually take these, and that depends on, of course, the builds you're going to run. But that's the first opening point. So if you want to check in the database, you can look and see what your Holy Priest aura is doing. There's all these different categories now in BFA, like where they're putting extra damage or extra healing or extra durations or whatever the kerfuffle. It's all in there if you're interested. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter too much. We have some returning abilities here. We have Mind Vision is back. Or I'm going to just Mind Vision you. Here you go. So Mind Vision returns is actually something I put in the notes for the alpha that was taken away from the Holy Priest. So Mind Vision has returned, which is interesting. Just a little bit of a old, old spell that the priests used to just have, but now it's back. Symbol of Hope, which was a talent that you either didn't take or always took in Legion, is now a baseline ability, part of the utility toolkit. I will then, pause the utility toolkit of the Holy Priest and the Discipline Priest, which is the next video coming up. Overall, the whole Mythic Plus thing, that's why I, jabbed at the comment section earlier. Is it going to be good for Mythic Plus? Is it going to be good? Well, whatever. Keep in mind, there is no specific, it's good for Mythic Plus because of this. There's all these little things that are happening to the Holy Priest and Discipline Priest that are making it, and the fact that the Holy Paladin is somewhat nerfed. They lost a little bit of their extra bits. They still obviously have Bubble and Bop and whatnot. And the Resto Druid had a lot of its bear form survivability healing cut down. So just keep that in mind and sort of like add to your list mentally, or a physical one. I don't know. The How to Priest Discord, I'm sure, will have some big write-up about it. But Symbol of Hope comes in as your toolkit. It's 2% missing mana to yourself while channeling for 6 seconds, and all other healers in your party or raid. You do have to remain channeling the ability. If you do stop channeling or stop moving, it will, of course, will cancel the channel. But this is 12% of your mana and all your healers' mana instead of the weird free casting nonsense you have right now as a talent. And it's a 5-minute cooldown, down from 6 minutes, so this could come in handy more in your raids. Not really a group-based thing, unless you can do it for yourself. Obviously, you can dunk a bunch of mana and then regen your own. That's totally fine. But obviously has a much more expounding thing in larger group content. Power Word Fortitude is also back. This is also found at a weaker version via Inscription and via the Warlock Imp. The Warlock Imp, I think, is only 5% stamina, though. And I think the Scroll is also the same. So your old school stamina buff is back. Woohoo! Psychic Scream also returns for the Holy Priest as well. Again, a little bit more in your toolbox. So now you actually have some peel for yourself, as well as an AoE interrupt. Even if the fear breaks right after you cast it, it'll still interrupt cast times of Mythic Plus, so there is still that there. Master Spell actually copped a pretty substantial nerf in the overall cooldown department. It's now a 45-second cooldown, which, yeah, it's just really powerful. So they just reduced the amount of effectiveness it's going to have over the course of time. Granted, all priests still have this, but now you have a more cooldown to coordinate about. Offensive stuff here. Let's go over to the target dummy and throw some smites. So the offensive toolkit for the Holy Priest, and this will come into play a little bit later with different talent possibilities. I do have Censure talented right now. So without this, we'll just take away, we'll go Psychic Voice, right? So it's a 4-second Disorient or Incapacitate on Chastise, or of course the 4-second stun. This was lowered from 5 seconds to 4 seconds. But overall, the serendipity bonus of spamming Smite and then casting your double up Holy Fires, because Smite can reset your Holy Fire. That's obviously still very much part of the DPS kit here. But of course, damage will break the Disorient, but not the stun. But your overall DPS kit is very much the same as it is right now. So really straightforward. Smite, Serendipities, your Chastise, so you can have more uptime on your stun. So you still have that as well in the toolkit. So that is still very much how you would DPS and add in that rotation when you're not having to actually heal everything as the Holy Priest. It's very much there. So yeah, so Chastise is Incapacitate down to 4 seconds from 5. Censure makes it a stun. Smite still has the chance to reset. Holy Fire, of course. And Holy Fire still stacks up to 2 times as well. Where's that little thing? There it goes. So a little bit of holy damage up front, and then, of course, the dot over the next 7 seconds. 2 stacks, of course. You get those stacks by getting resets. Like right there. That's still very much there. Nothing changed there. Serendipity stuff, however, did get a bit of a change. I went over this in the alpha video, and I really kind of didn't know the overarching possibilities of it because of other balance tuning we've actually had now. But, so Sanctify, the cooldown is reduced on your AoE heal by 6 seconds whenever you Prayer of Healing, and 2 seconds whenever you renew. And right off the bat, renew isn't going to be used that often. It's like your mobility heal. Obviously, it'll still proc your Echo of Light, which is your mastery. This has not changed. Echo of Light heals twice over 6 seconds for an amount of whatever the direct heal was. Just the extra hot that is still there. But renew having cooldown reduction on Sanctify will definitely come into play a little bit later in some talent combinations. But when you're moving, toss out your renew. Of course, there is the possibility of like Enduring Renewal being really good for tank healing, because then your renew just lasts forever, essentially. But renew is there, but it gives you some CDR on Sanctify, which is nice. It's definitely nice. Helpful. And then, of course, you have Serenity, the largest single target heal in the game, more or less, at least on the instant category. It's 6 seconds reduced when you ever cast Heal or Flash Heal. The meta is still the same. So, the weird thing about Serendipity, though, was Binding Heal. It still has the 3 seconds off both. And they did cut down Chastise to 4 seconds from 6 seconds on your Smite reduction to a little bit less on that, but that comes into play more often with the talent. And you know what it is if you've been following the WoW DB stuff or the patch note things or whatever on MMO Champion, but we'll get to that. Prayer of Mending, I want to make sure this is still a thing. This still stacks to 10, and the stacks of Prayer of Mending stack to 10 or 5 each from individual priests. They didn't mess anything up here, so you can still have multiple mendings from different holy priests that aren't going to cannibalize the stacks, but that still stacks to 10. Holy Nova. Yep, Holy Nova's next. Holy Nova on live right now is just damage. Now they put back a little bit of the heal. There's a little bit of a heal in Holy Nova now. It is less healing than the damage, but this now has a 20% chance as well to reset your Holy Fire. So if you're AoEing, you have a chance to do this, of course. The weird thing about Holy Nova, you still have the reset on live, but you don't have the healing component. The animation for it does not even render close to the range of the ability. Look, the range is right around my character, but the actual 12 yards, you're seeing how far away I'm still healing. It's kind of weird. I kind of wish the animation trailed off a little bit more so you'd have a better idea of how far it goes. But I mean, you'll get used to it, I guess. But same sort of weird thing with Dragon's Breath and the Dragon's Breath Helm for mages in Legion that like doubled the range, but the animation didn't change at all until like later on in the game because you never knew where the distance was because the fire went here, but you hit things way out here. Stuff like that. It happens. Desperate Prayer. This is a big one. Again, add this to your Mythic Plus checklist, I guess. Desperate Prayer now doesn't have the weird decreasing HP madness anymore. It's a 25% last stand for 10 seconds, and it instantly heals you for that amount, 25% of your health when you cast it. So it's going to be a lot easier to just bump up your health, survive big hits, of course, and not get train wrecked if that's the thing you need to do. Every 90 seconds until a talent comes in later on, which we'll go over when we get to talent section. So right now it's like 30% and then it teeters off like 2% a second or something. Like, what the heck is that? What? So now it's a lot more just consistent. It's 25% health for 10 seconds and the heal. Bada bing, bada boom. Right there. Not any weird shenanigans. And then Guardian Spirit has a few changes. Other than being overall just buffed. It's a 3-minute cooldown, down from 4 minutes. The Death Blow save still remains 40% max HP of the target. However, the healing amp is increased to 60% additional healing, not from just you, but from all healing effects, personal and exterior, up from 40%. So they just took a minute off the cooldown, which is kind of an artifact trait, I believe. But, I mean, And then they just bumped up the healing baseline. And now we can get into talents. And all this stuff can sort of wrap its head around the upcoming stuff that's here. So anything else you look at is the same. Divine Hymn still has the 10% healing amp on it that lasts basically 15 seconds. Because it lasts for 8 seconds on the actual 10-second amp. But then it refreshes at the end of the channel. So you channel it for the duration. But then you also get the refresh on the very end. So you add that 10% healing amp period, that amplify magic effect. That's still there. Still have to stand still and channel it though. But Divine Hymn for by itself, maybe not that great, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But everything else, these are all still here. Leap of Faith, all that is still there. Prayer of Mending is still, Prayer of Healing, Prayer of Mending. Mind Vision, Mind Control, Mass Resurrection, all this stuff. That is the kit that you have. Focus Will wasn't nerfed or cut down at all. It's still 15% for 2 stacks. You still have Shackle and Dead. Woohoo! And your Mastery and Spirit of Redemption still lasts 15 seconds. So, the biggest shakeups here, as I prefaced at the beginning of the video, let me bring up your talents. This is the biggest change. You just look at what's shuffled around here. A lot of your talents you still have, but the shuffling and the moving around of certain talents, a lot of it is so incredibly good from what I've gathered from chat, what I've heard in my little friend circles and asking other healer friends, like almost the namesake of this video, for example. There's some really great just moves for the Holy Priest. So talents, however, that you were removed. So Body and Mind is gone. Symbol of Hope, which is baseline now. Piety and Divinity. Those are all gone. The updates here, though, right off the bat is this tier right here. So Cosmic Ripple. This comes over from your artifact. So whenever your Holy Word Sanctify or Serenity actually cool down, you get that little burst of AoE healing, which heals 5 targets. And I think it's 40 yards. It heals so far away, it's ridiculous. But it's just passive extra healing, which comes into play in a different build. But for the most part, the best talent for here if you just don't need any utility. It now competes with Guardian Angel, which is a 60-second cooldown reset on your Guardian Spirit if the target doesn't die during the cooldown. It's a 60% healing amp, though. You could very well just use this every minute. Your tank won't die, or your priority target won't die, because you're going to heal the crap out of them. That right there is a huge buff to Guardian Spirit's potential, And then Afterlife is the 50% duration increase on Spirit of Redemption, which no legendary cloak anymore, sure, but this is still really powerful for using Spirit as a raid cooldown or a pseudo raid cooldown, right? You can time a death, get rezzed afterwards. You get 22.5 seconds of just free casting. It also works really well in PvP, obviously, because when you die, you can still heal, right? Stuff like that. And how many of you have had like the less than 2 or 3% wipe on a mythic boss or something like that? And if you could have been in Spirit a little longer, or if you could have lived a little longer and then died and then kept healing your tank, you would have gotten the kill, right? Little things like that come into play. This tier overall looks really nice. The argument people brought up with Cosmic Ripple is that this actually gives you throughput. But honestly, what's it going to be? Like less than 5% of your overall healing? And even at max level, if this even healed for like 2,000, you have 100 KHP at max level to start out with in tier 1 of BFA. 2,000 random healing to 5 people isn't going to save their lives. It's nice. It's really good for group content, just because it's free healing that's bursting out around you. But, So don't think it's like, oh, it's the best. So, might not be. Binding Heal had its wording updated. It heals you, your target, and another friendly target within 20 yards. Mostly just a clarity bit because it was kind of confusing earlier. Oh, I don't even have Binding Heal on my bars. There's too many buttons. Oh my gosh. Where can I even put this thing? You know what? We're going to put it over maybe Wanston for now, just so I can hit it. I don't know why. So many buttons. But, so now it's you, your target, and one other. With, of course, all the serendipity bonuses that are happening there. So that's all really good. It's still really powerful. It doesn't even cost that much mana. Honestly, you can see my mana regen right now is really fine overall. But that's obviously going to be a heal really good in dungeons because just you only have 5 people in a dungeon, right? Or islands. It's you, your whole party, basically. So it competes with Surge of Light, which is still going to be strong. So obviously has the serendipity benefits there. And Circle of Healing, which is still just kind of like, yeah, okay. But it moved to compete here versus what you have above, right? So those are different changes. Circle of Healing could definitely be good. It's obviously mobile because you can cast it on the move, but we'll see. I went over Divine Star and Halo. Their damage and healing is actually balanced except for the aura that is tweaking it. So it's always going to do more healing than damage. Benediction moved up to the 90 tier, and this is only a 30% chance for Prayer of Mending to leave a renew on each target. So a little bit of a power cut down. But that's supposedly a balancing tweak because it moved in tiers, right? Then we have Light of the Naru, which is now a 100 talent. And this is a CDR tweak to all of your serendipity bonuses. So this is 33% more. It's basically still 2 more seconds on everything. There's some decimals behind the scenes. So every so many casts, you actually get like an extra second here and there-ish. The biggest thing about this one, though, is because Smite has less for Chastise. This only goes up to like 5 seconds when you Smite spam. So a little bit less of your spammed, either your Incapacitate or your Stun. So that's just a little tweak there, but not really, but also a strong passive. Overall, this move down here versus where it used to be, which competed with Guardian Angel and Afterlife, which you were at the same time just like, Light of the Naru, though? Duh. Because it was so good. Why not take it? And here's why one of the biggest changes that Holy Priest has been asking for a while. Apotheosis. I put in my notes, great overall balancing update. This came out on Twitter. There was a good thread that went up about it because again, the Mythic Plus viability thing. It's a 2-minute cooldown, down from 3 minutes. Lasts for 20 seconds, down from 30 seconds. But again, you can use it more often. It's 300% or 4 times the serendipity bonus when you use your serendipity cooldown reductions for holy words on all of them. And of course, it makes all your holy words free for the duration. So this makes your 6-second windows. Hold on, let me fix this madness. So this makes all of your 6-second windows 24 seconds. Your 2-second windows will become 8, and your 4 seconds become 16. So there is now a lot of going back to the renew bit. So we're going to pop Apotheosis, and we're going to just weave some Prayer of Healings and some renews now for AoE healing, for example. I go over a lot of this more in the VOD. We test a whole bunch of different combinations and the DPS versions or whatever. Obviously, don't have enough time to keep doing all that here, but you still look incredible. Wah! And then here's some Prayer of Healings, and you see all the huge cooldown reduction. We'll toss some Renews out there, and we're back. We'll do another Renew. Do a Prayer of Healing here. Maybe one over here. Maybe a Renew. And we're back. And here you're seeing the combination with Cosmic Ripple. One more, and then we're done. Yeah, okay. But that has, with Cosmic Ripple, really some crazy AoE burst potential in that sense. And of course, you can obviously do the really single target focus because you're going to get the same heal and flash heal, Surge of Light, Apotheosis. That's basically your entire cooldown of Serenity back with 2 Surge of Lights that'll be instant and free. Because it's 24 seconds per flash of light, which is just ridiculous to think about. So that's 50 seconds off. You get one other heal in there, and you're back to a Serenity window. So the Apotheosis hooks now to be able to use this more frequently for a less bit of time, but to be able to have that demand every 2 minutes to react to AoE damage. It's an airdrop, by the way, because I have War Mode turned on. Heck. Those are in the game, by the way. There are airdrops in WoW now. There it is. Every 2 minutes for 20 seconds, you can react to big pulls in Mythic Plus now. This is a huge bonus. And of course, just in raids, right? This is a gigantic buff to Apotheosis overall. So it looks really, really good. So let me know in the comments down below what you think of the Apotheosis buff, because this is huge. This is a really, really nice update to this talent. It does compete with Light of the Naru, which is obviously just going to be up there all the time, but I'm not sure. It depends on what kind of encounter you're dealing with, right? So talents added, however, of course, we still have Enlightenment, Trail of Light, Enduring Renewal. Trail of Light still has weird shenanigans where you can basically be across the world and back and still get the last target to be replicated for your heal. Angelic Feather, Perseverance is still very much here to have that 10% DR on yourself all the time when you have your Renew up, which again, keeping a Renew on yourself now at least gives you some Serendipity, so that's nice. Psychic Voice is 30 seconds off of your Psychic Scream. Shining Force is still a ridiculous knockback. We already went over Divine Star and Halo. Angel's Mercy is new. So this one is damage you take reduces the cooldown of Desperate Prayer based on the amount of damage taken. So going back to the Desperate Prayer bonus here, if you're in Miapow and you need to have your cooldown more active, and you're going to be taking random spike damage or explosions or dots or whatever, we couldn't really find the direct amount. Again, go check the How to Priest Discord and see if they've got math on this, because it's pretty much a percentage of health damage taken equals cooldown off. So I'm going to try not to die to this target dummy who's going to actually just destroy me. And you'll see the cooldown falling down there in the bottom corner. By percentage of health equals seconds off the cooldown. Oh, no! Yo! So we're almost back. And this obviously taking a lot of damage. But what we kind of looked at was almost like it may be about 150% to 200% of your health bar is almost the entire cooldown back. And there we go. So having a lot more uptime just by taking random splash damage, dots, whatever, giving you a lot more Desperate Prayer may give you that little bit of extra survivability edge you need to survive in anything. But again, mainly the Mythic Plus situation. So, but again, also Perseverance competes with it, which is just 10% DR all the time. So I'm not sure if that's going to be better. Different situations, right? But that's a huge bonus to the Holy Priest's survivability, because it has been a bit of a problem and a sore spot for many of you, and I know. Outside of that, you probably come to it. Probably one of the best things that has happened to the Holy Priest, at least in the raid sense. In a group sense, this might not be as big of a deal, but the new Holy Word Salvation is ridiculous for a raid cooldown. It's a 12-minute cooldown. Not really. It's a bit of a mana. It's 2-second cast, reduced by haste. It heals all allies within 40 yards for a flat amount. It's basically a greater heal, or a heal, I suppose. So your heal right now is 2,700, and this direct heal is 2,500. A little bit weaker than an actual regular heal. It applies Renew and 2 stacks of Prayer and Mending to each target. All allies within 40 yards. And the cooldown is reduced by 30 seconds whenever you cast Serenity or Sanctify. So averaged out math, we thought about this and we worked on it. I did it in the alpha and we got some more back end on it when we were doing testing. It's really like a 2 to 5 minute cooldown. The 2 minutes is on the upper end of you are just going ham on holy words, your healing ones. And then 4 to 5 minutes is about average if you're just sort of doing your own thing, depending on your healing comp, depending on what kind of content you're in. So overall, the cooldown is half of this because you're going to be using holy words regardless. But this has not only the greater heal effect, which is going to put up your Echo of Light, the renew initial heal puts up your Echo of Light, and then if they're taking any amount of damage, the Prayer of Mendings will also instantly bounce at least once, if not twice, because there's 2 stacks on everyone. And those, of course, as well, will stack your Echo of Light. You're not going to really see and feel the impact of this ability on just target dummies, but the amount of healing this will do is going to be a little ridiculous. My healing meter won't work right now because I'm not in combat and I'm just healing target dummies. It doesn't work properly. But I even healed these NPCs over here. He's getting healed. Yeah. So this is a huge power spike for the Holy Priest. And even by itself, you can Divine Hymn to put the 10% healing amp on everyone and then Salvation. So normally healers usually combine, depending on how much damage is coming into your raid, 2 heals, like a Devotion Aura and a Trank going out. Or you've got like a Darkness and a Healing Tide Totem, or a Darkness and an SLT, right? You always have like 2 things. The Holy Priest now can just hymn Salvation. You amp all the components of the ability, amp your Mastery follow-up, and that's the whole raid cooldown, possibly, depending on how it scales to max level. Which is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And timed properly, you'd have both your other holy words on cooldown so that you can then cast them both right back to back immediately to start getting the cooldown chain rolling again to get it right back up. So, again, it's not that long of a cooldown. It's between 2 and 5 minutes, somewhere in that bread and butter zone, right? So, on average in a mythic fight, at least 2 or 3 uses, depending on how, aggressive you're going to be with that. And that's going to be huge. Because Holy Priest right now, and what do you have in your bottom talents? You have Benediction, Apotheosis, and Circle of Healing. Nothing in the kit on live right now compares to the new Apotheosis and Holy Word Salvation. It's just impact in these updates. It's just a really, really nice change. So if you are hyped for Holy Word Salvation, I've had some people that comment on the alpha video that said the only reason why they want to play a Holy Priest now is for this spell. I don't blame you. They're really nice. So GCD stuff real quick here. I don't think there was any new, obviously spells, major cooldowns are going to be on the GCD. So I don't think anything specifically has changed for the Holy Priest in that regard. A lot of casters only have a lot of changes here. Major cooldowns are on the GCD and will always be. Like Fade is still off and like that kind of stuff just works, Guardian Spirit still off. So nothing changed like dramatically, right? Dramatically or drastically? I made a new word. Like fears on the GCD, stuff like that. That's going to happen. But overall, your GCD stuff hasn't been changed in any weird way. So war mode stuff. I have it turned on currently. I had to turn off any talents that would make the baseline stuff weird because it's active all the time. But war mode now is activated and it has a better tooltip. In Stormwind or Orgrimmar, you will then be flagged in the open world, and you'll have these talents available for world questing, open world PvP, obviously arenas and battlegrounds, and any of the old world stuff. There's a new event that lasts like a month in game. It's all about doing the old world PvP objective areas, which is kind of neat. It's on the PTR. We can test it right now. And then, of course, you gain additional honor. It's up here in the tooltip. You gain additional honor when you kill Horde members, in this case. And then you gain even more honor if you kill their assassins. If you go on a 10 kill streak, which I believe will include assists, I imagine, for a healer, then you'll gain a assassin buff, giving you 15% damage healing until you die. And then, of course, you gain 10% increased XP from killing monsters and completing quests. And there are increased rewards at endgame for doing world quests. You pick any of these talents. You can go check out either the old WoW DB calculator just to read them, or I think WoW Head has a really nice new talent calculator up with all the talents here. You pick whatever you want for your medallion, and then you pick and choose whatever build you like. Put together whatever you'd like to put together. So again, going over Apotheosis, taking Miracle Worker, having 2 charges of Serenity, and then having the Apotheosis to recharge them really fast to go right back into Miracle Worker heal. Yeah, Rapid Mending for the instant Prayer of Mending bounces. right? Or the instant cast and the range jump increase. I do not know how this range jump increase works with Salvation. I'm going to assume it works because it's just a regular Prayer of Mending cast. So again, in widespread PvP, World PvP, or of course like the Epic Battlegrounds. They're called Epic Battlegrounds now, I believe. Where is that? Yeah, player versus player, Epic Battlegrounds. These are like the large scale ones, Alterac Valley and such. So that's a different thing. That's going to be ridiculously huge. So pick and choose whatever you'd like. You can actually do Guardian Spirit down to 2 minutes baseline and PvP talents, making Guardian Angel kind of useless. But then you can keep Cosmic Ripple or Afterlife. Probably Afterlife for PvP, because when you eventually die, you get 22.5 seconds of Spirit. So I wouldn't combine it with Spirit of the Redeemer. You can, I guess, but this gives you a cooldown to go into Spirit. This still works with it, though. It still adds a little bit of extra time in Spirit of the Redeemer as an actual activate, which is kind of an immunity. So you can do that. Greater Fate, of course. Make and choose your own abilities here. Pick whatever you'd like. And that's the War Mode stuff you can go over. But overall, again, if you kept up with your checklist of things that may or may not change the V word, I don't use that word very often, but the strengths and weaknesses of the Holy Priest has definitely been amped up quite a bit. But I've been rambling for far too long. If you, of course, have any other questions or thoughts or things you need to worry about and learn and look at, go check out my video description box down below. Go to my channel guide and schedule, my Discord guide, and you can go join my Discord, of course, but I'm really going to push you towards the How to Priest Discord. They have a huge community and a great website, a lot of amazing math theory crafters that are making guides and resources and things for all walks of priest. You can go check that out down there to keep up to date with all the different changes, to see how the tier list or hierarchy is moving around for the priest in any walk of life. So go check that out in the video description box below. While you're down there, of course, all my other socials are down there as well. Well, thank you all very much for listening or watching along with the updates to the Holy Priest. It looks good. It definitely looks good. I will see you all in the next Battle for Azeroth beta second pass video rambling thing, whatever the hell I'm doing on the internet. Haha. What is that? What was that?